What is up, YouTube? My name is Eben, and today, on Forgotten Fridays, we're going to do a little sling for the ladies. These ladies, that is, Nidoqueen. This is Omega Barrage Nidoqueen from Primal Clash. She has Omega Barrage, which allows her to attack twice per turn. Her first attack for 1 Psychic Energy is 30 damage and guaranteed poison, and for 2 Psychic and a Colorless, she hits for 70, but deals 20 to herself, albeit that she ignores weakness on that, which is kind of nice since she has a Psychic weakness. So basically here the idea is pretty simple. We're trying to score one-hit KOs with Nidoqueen with Omega Barrage. We're trying to get the energy up for Dynamite Punch, and basically with a Muscle Band on it, that's 90 damage. We're going to do it twice, that's 180. That's a KO on anything that's not named Wailord EX or Omega, pretty much. And so that's the idea, and the whole deck is going to be based on trying to get our Nidoqueen up, running, and hitting pretty hard and pretty fast. Of course, to support this, we're running 4 Nidorina, and we're also running 4 Nidoran female, and that's 12 Pokemon, so that's the vast majority of Pokemon in our deck. But we are also going to run 2 Rayquaza EX, just so that we can get some nice early damage with our intensifying burn, and that potentially could add up to just a one-shot knockout with Nidoqueen's Dynamite Punch, which is nice. We can get up to a Dragon Pulse, but really what this is here for is just to be a nice starter. We need a little more in the basic Pokemon department than just 4, obviously. So this is a good early game starter since the vast majority of decks run very heavily, if not exclusively, on EXs right now. But we do have one more Pokemon we can go search for if we need to be a nice basic Pokemon for us or a potential starter, and that's Toxicroak EX. He's been quickly forgotten himself, but we do run Dimension Valley, so he can be a really cheap attacker, and his triple poison is good at putting damage on things and forcing switches and retreats, which we can take advantage of late game with Omega Barrages and possibly score 2 knockouts at one time, depending on how things go. And Smash Uppercut for essentially 2 Psychic is not bad either. With a Muscle Band, that Dimension Valley allows that to be a 2 energy attack that deals 100 damage, which is pretty much 2 KO on most things. So, not a bad lineup there, not a bad lineup at all. Supporter-wise, we've got our 4 Sycamores, and we're also running 4 Shaunas. We're going to be really straightforward here with this deck. A lot of consistency just by running numbers of things, 3 to 4 of a lot of things. Now, that said, we are just running 1 teammates, but this is a target for our many copies of Versus Seeker. We've got enough Pokemon that are probably going to be aggressively targeted by our opponents that this is a nice way to maintain momentum when we lose one of our Pokemon. So this is a great Versus Seeker target. We want to get access to it quickly, put it in that discard pile, and just wait for our opponents to turn it on for us. We are running 3 Wallies, actually. Obviously, this doesn't work with our EXs, but that's just fine. This is just to make sure that in our early to mid-game, we can definitely get those Nidoqueens up when we need them. And rather than evolve straight from our hand, we can just grab them out of the deck and build up. And we're not afraid to build up more than 1 Nidoqueen. It's actually quite important that we do, since Nidoqueen damages herself anyway. So we're partially running 3 to make sure we get this in the early game, give us the good chance of drawing it, but we're also running 3 just so that we can use it multiple times over. Because we don't always need to draw cards, sometimes we just need to get our Pokemon online. We are also running, our last supporter is we're running 2 copies of Lysander. We definitely want to keep our offense going, and part of that is maintaining knockouts. This is great also for picking off things like, say, Shaman EX on the bench to pick up some easy prizes, or disrupt our opponent's setup. You can pick off a Pokemon like Bronzong very easily by Lysandering it up, and then deal another 90 damage to the next active Pokemon, for example. Great ways for us to pick up prizes and maintain pressure while keeping our opponents off balance. And our items just reinforce that theory of kind of speed and consistency. We got 4 Trainer's Mails. We've got 3 Versus Seekers. Because we're already fairly heavy on supporters, otherwise I'd be running 4, but we're just gonna run 3. That's quite enough just to make sure things happen. We do have 2 Ultra Balls. A lot of times we don't necessarily want to discard 2 very much, but this can be useful. Say you got Nidoran female on turn 1, but you didn't find the Nidorina. Turn 2, you can go Ultra Ball for the Nidorina and then play a Wally, let's say. And you go straight up to Nidoqueen on turn 2 that way. Because, of course, Wally ignores the one turn wait for evolution that most other cards would require. And we are running our 4 Dimension Valleys, partially to overwrite other people's stadiums, but also just to make sure we're getting those attacks off consistently, quickly in the early game. And of course, one of the ways to do that is to make them cheaper. That's one of the great strengths of Psychic Pokemon right now, is the ability to attack on the cheap. And to help make sure our Nidoqueen gets a lot of power, and everybody in this deck pretty much benefits from this except Toxicroak, unless, of course, you're swinging his second attack, Muscle Band. This lets your Nidoqueen score one-hit KOs, very important for Nidoqueen, but don't be afraid to slap one down on a Rayquaza EX early game if that's what you need. That's why we run 4. Alright, now, we are also running 2 Escape Ropes. It's our switch card of choice, mostly because we're running Mystery Energy, which gives pretty much everything in the deck free retreat except Rayquaza. So this Escape Rope is a great way to force inconvenient switches on your opponent, and at the same time give you a lot of interesting options where you can switch out to something with essentially free retreat, and then move it depending on what your opponent switches, and so on. Anytime you get access to a lot of cheap retreats, Escape Rope is the logical choice. So, over switch. Alright, and that said, our energy is pretty straightforward. We got 4 Mystery Energy. You don't have to run Mystery Energy, but I really like it just for free retreat advantage, and that synergy it generates with Escape Rope. You can run 2 switches instead of the 2 Escape Ropes and turn these into basic energies if you're concerned about things like Enhanced Hammer. But I don't think it's a big enough concern right now in our metagame to really warrant that versus the advantages of running the special energy. Especially since none of our Pokemon really need more than 2 energy as long as we have access to Dimension Valley. So it's not really a big concern. And of course the last cards in our deck are we're running 8 Psychic Energies. And hopefully with some good draw power and our relatively low energy costs, that should be more than enough for you. Alright, and that's the deck, so until next time, like, comment, subscribe. If you aren't following me on Twitter already, there should be a link down below in the description, so you can, and that way you'll find out when videos upload, and occasionally I'll give you, like, tournament updates just for giggles, and I'll repost things like Wi-Fi tournaments online, and other cool information, so why wouldn't you? You should do that. And anyway, I will see you next time.